Yo, we're live. Or are we? Yes, I think so. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, today we're just gonna brew more with the Aeropress. We're gonna, yet again, go back to some of the old recipes that we've done with these beans over here and really try the ones that we enjoyed. So I went back to a recipe that I did back in July 30th, and that one was one of my favorite brewing recipes with these beans right now. But I also had a really good cup of coffee on August 3rd, where it was slightly under extracted, but I added a dash of water and it tasted really delicious. So I'm gonna brew that cup today, and I'll compare that side by side with what I tried yesterday, as in I have it fresh in my mind and I'll compare those two cups to each other. So yeah, let's begin. Good old brew cam. And as always, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. The beans. Grams of coffee. So I need to change my grind size to 35. Let me just showcase the recipe that I'm using again. So they're kind of gone, but not really. They're actually all under a, so the question is if my previous videos and live streams are gone. They're actually all under a playlist. So you can find all of the live stream brews under a playlist, but they won't be showing up as published videos because it was getting a bit too cluttered on the channel page, which is like live streams consistently. So you can still find it, but it's unlisted under a playlist on my channel. So the recipe that we'll be using today is a 1:15 brewing ratio. A 15, and that means that it's 15 grams of coffee to 225 grams of water. We'll be using 85 degrees Celsius water, and we'll be using a 35 grind setting on my grinder, and we'll be using a 3-minute brew time. And also, Mohammed, at the end of all of these beans over here, I'll be compiling a video that just summarizes this whole journey of where I took the beans and what recipes that I did and liked, and make that into like a nice, tight, concise, 10-minute video. So that will eventually be published on the stream, but on the channel. But if you want to see the live streams, yet again, you can see them at a playlist on my channel. So let's continue brewing. Beans. Here we got the grinds. .15 grams of coffee. let me go and get the cup that I want to brew in. And today I feel like using the old school Aeropress. Oh yeah. So we got the cap, filter, turn that onto the chamber like so. Pop it in, preheat, and since we're aiming for cooler water, right now this is boiling, so I'm gonna just pour some regular water in here, cool it down. And of course stay hydrated. Okay. Pour out this water. I'm not pouring it on the table. I have like a mini glass over here that I'm pouring water into. Okay, so let's begin. Water is not now at 90 degrees Celsius. On the recipe it says 85 degrees Celsius, but I'm gonna change it a bit and do it with 90 degrees Celsius this time around. I got a good feeling that'll work out. Pour in the grinds. Tear. Turn on the timer. And we'll be pouring all the way up to 225 grams of water, and we'll be letting it brew for 3 minutes. Starting the timer. $225. Put the plunger in to lock it like so. And now we wait. So I'm brewing with 90 degrees Celsius instead of 85 degrees Celsius water because, yet again, it was a bit under extracted, that brew, and I have a good feeling that just increasing that water temperature by 5 degrees Celsius will kind of balance it out so that I don't need to add that dash of water to open it up after I've brewed with it. But we'll see how it tastes. And if you haven't seen yet, I posted 3 videos yesterday night about coffee roasting. So if you're interested in coffee roasting, you should totally check that out because it's a really cool craft and it's pretty easy to get into if you want to get into it. It's pretty cheap and reasonable, and I explain my whole journey in those 3 videos and my recommendations and stuff. But yeah, it's nice to be posting like longer form videos again because it's been a while. I was kind of like trying a different format where I wanted 3 videos that kind of like linked together and did its own thing. So it'll be exciting because David, I'm just explaining it right now, where it's just a bit different of a style of video, meaning they're all interconnected to each other. So it's kind of like a part 1, part 2, part 3, but then at the end of the video, you can like watch one of the other parts because of the end cards. And that way it becomes like this mini progressive journey of learning DIY home roasting through these 3 videos. So yeah, let me know what you think and if you like the style of video where they're kind of like linked to each other, or if you would prefer like one big video But yeah, always down for feedback. So right now we're at 2 minutes and 47 seconds. So we'll be plunging in a moment. And plunge. Forgot to bring it down over here. Okay. It has been plunged. Now I'm just emptying the chamber, twisting off the cap, doing a mini clean, pressing out the buck, and I'm gonna rinse this. BRB. And we're back. So coffee looking good. I'll give that a mini stir and we'll let it sit for a bit. And in the meantime, I'll show you my plants. So they're doing well. I actually have this stick here now that I'm using to check the soil for if I need to water it or not, because I used to not know how much water I needed to put in it. I used to like overwater my plants, but now I'm using the stick to like dig a mini hole and then put my finger in to then see if it's really damp or not, and I need to water my plants. Thanks for telling me, stick. Coffee plant's doing good too. Been repotted. Leaves look great. Seems like it's acclimatizing well to the new pot. Looking stellar. Like, I really wonder if it'll grow any coffee cherries. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. Maybe it'll be like in 20 years from now, it becomes like this big tree that I have to like repot somewhere in some kind of garden and give it some love, you know? Okay, tasting time. Let's do this. So I like the tastes and acidities that is coming through in this cup over here. More than yesterday's cup, but those tastes that are coming through don't really compensate for the lack of body that this one is having. Like the other one that I brewed yesterday from the July 30th recipe just had way more of a silkier body, better mouthfeel, lingering flavors of like just good mouthfeel feels, and it just felt way more juicy and smooth, while this one is a bit more interesting on the acidities. But if you take the overall cup, I would say that the cup with the better mouthfeel was better, and it tasted better, and it just was a better cup of coffee. Yeah, like I can appreciate this one for its specific tastes yet again, but if I would have to rate the cup overall, it would be lesser than the one that I brewed yesterday. So I'm probably gonna write out the beans with the July 30th recipe and just go from there because that's the best cup so far. But it's still a pretty good cup of coffee. So talking about the recent 3 videos that I posted, I'm actually planning on doing something similar with a brewing guide. So at the end of the video, when you kind of get like multiple options to choose from, it would be so awesome to make a brewing guide that gave you the options of like, oh, if it's under extracted, check out this video and I'll teach you how to change your variables in your recipe to compensate for under extraction. If it's over extracted, click over here. If you don't know what you're doing, click over here. If it's balanced but boring, click over here. And I think that that would be really rad of a guide to kind of like teach those concepts of extraction in a brewing guide, because it's usually really hard to teach it in like an instructional step-by-step brewing guide. And I feel like that type of knowledge is kind of lacking in the intro like coffee scene, and I think that it would be a really cool guide to make. So yeah, I've been thinking a lot about it, and this roasting series is kind of like the sandbox testing grounds to see if the feature works well and if I can do it, and it does. And I'm really happy about it. I'm gonna try adding a dash of water and seeing what happens. Yeah, I totally agree, David, but I just need to like execute it really well and make it awesome and friendly and easy to follow for most people. That's the goal. Yeah, I kind of lost some of its slightly sharper acidities that I enjoyed in this cup, and now it became a bit more of a mellow cup by just adding that slight dash of water. So in my opinion, I shouldn't have added that dash of water in this case, but it's always good to do and to test out and to see what happens and what changes and evolves as you do these mini tweaks to your cup of coffee or your brew. But yeah, thanks for joining me yet again. Make sure to check out the roasting series that I just posted not too long ago if you want to learn about coffee roasting. And I won't be posting these live streams over here on the channel as a published video. But if you want to still see it, you can see it under a playlist where I have it as a unlisted video. And you'll see all of the live streams that I do over there. It's really just to not notify my subscribers all the time with a published video every single day, because these live streams, whenever I post it as a video, it just becomes one of those published videos. But I've now changed it a bit, and it's easier for the subscribers who don't want to be notified by the live streams. Yeah, you might have to teach me some stuff, David. Like I'm pretty newbie of a roaster, meaning I've tried a lot of DIY roasting methods, and I've learned a lot and just done a lot of research, but there's always room for improvement, I must say. What do you roast with again? Just curious. This becomes a test of the delay between video chat and text chat. Even on like low latency, so it's not like ultra low latency right now, it's like low, which is supposed to be like a couple of seconds, but it just feels weird. Based on the heat gun, I actually really enjoy the popcorn popper. I don't know why, but the simplicity and the dose is perfect for me. Like, I just want like 100 grams of coffee, and I just want to play around with the roast level and like have a delicious time with like 5, 6, 7 cups. And the popcorn popper is like perfect for my living situations. But yeah, heat gun is amazing for bigger batches. So do you have like a bread maker, or do you have like a cast iron or like Dutch oven of sorts, or like a metal mesh going on? I've tried the Dutch oven, and I've also now upgraded the setup to a bread maker and heat gun. So if I really want to roast like 500 grams of coffee, then I can do that with the bread maker and heat gun. And it does have the best roast out of the methods that I've tried, but just the amount of coffee that it's roasting, which is pretty large, and just all the moving parts doesn't like, I just enjoy the popcorn popper more because it's so ghetto and simple, you know. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I'm probably gonna continue doing. Oh, I use a rotisserie cage that I cut on one end, where I point the heat gun, cover with foil to retain heat, rotate by hand. Oh, okay. I've seen those setups too. It's pretty solid, like solid movement of beans, and just like you're doing, if you can retain the heat in the chamber where the beans are, then that's ideal. I've even seen those flour sifters too, for a smaller batch with the heat gun. But yeah, a rotisserie cage plus foil plus heat gun is pretty solid. And I really love how ghetto these ways are, but they produce a really good roast, you know? Like, there is very little you need to roast a good batch of coffee other than knowledge and a consistent setup, and just knowing when to remove the beans and knowing your own setup. So it's really fun for me. I've really enjoyed roasting. And maybe down the road I'll be doing some roasting live streams. That would be fun too. Just showcasing how I roast my beans. Yeah, so I used to do it with a cast iron skillet, and man, it got so uneven. So the direct heat, metal to bean, it would just like heat up one side, and even though I would move it as much as possible, it would just become a uneven roast. And I even talk about that in the video. But yeah, a heat system and a convection, like closed ecosystem, is ideal for roasting, and you can achieve that in very ghetto ways. I've never, like, my buddy has a air fryer, and I've always been curious as to if you could roast coffee beans in an air fryer. Maybe I should try that out for science, you know. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna end the stream here, and I'll talk to you guys later, probably tomorrow when I brew another cup of coffee. Take care, have a good day, enjoy it, drink coffee, and I'm out.